that what I just added. Cause we not saying nothing without, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm going to add, I normally do domestic violence with as many tags on, but I'm not going to do the song because I'm gonna wait till the end of our conversation to do the song. I was trying to see where the people at. People where y'all at? People where you at? Come on here and let's do the dinner table conversation. Y'all already know. Don't do that. Don't start getting brand new. Y'all know when we do dinner table conversation, it's that time. It's that time to do the conversation. Let's roll with it, boo. But no, seriously, I'm so grateful to be here. You know, one more time to have our dinner table conversations. And I want everybody to feel love. I want everybody to feel like this is positive. I want everybody to feel like, and I know I don't do the people pleasing thing. I don't do that part. But I do want you to be a part of something that is manifold, something that is real, when it comes to this conversation, because it's time that we stop leaving each other out of the conversation. It's time that we stop doing the gender bias stuff and really get in there and let's talk about something that's real. Let's talk about some things that are real, things that have hurt our children, things that have hurt our loved ones and our families. We don't want to revisit stuff, but we ain't revisited in the first. We never visited in the first place. So now, yes, we have to go back and revisit stuff because we never visited in the first place. How about that? How about you come on and scrub up like the doctors do, scrub up, get clean, and come on up here to the dinner table, and hop in this conversation. I should not be having hard topic dinner table conversation alone. I should never have to have hard topic dinner table conversation alone. And none of us should. None of us should have to have hard topic dinner table conversation alone because it is hard to do. You do need support and love, being able to share your story and want to chime in and help other people not experience what you have experienced. Come on now, somebody. You need to understand that it's serious. Okay? I done said my piece. Let me go on and get into the next part of the conversation here. Oh, let me go back here. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so we're doing non-disclosure of an STD, sexual abuse. What y'all think about that? How y'all feel about that? Please post your stuff in the comments so we can have a little chit chat tonight. That's what I want to do. I want to chit chat with the people tonight. I want my brothers and sisters to be hip tonight, and every time we come to have dinner table conversation, I want us to be, together on one accord. So tonight is about this beautiful conversation that I think we all can benefit from, having a conversation. If we're going to try to, heal and stuff like that, we need to be having a conversation. Think about all of the stories that you may have heard, regarding sexual abuse and the struggles that people have gone through when they've experienced something like sexual abuse. Let's think about that. What, how do we, handle that? How do we begin to support each other in a conversation like that? Where we're talking about those hard topics that are normally not talked about. And I don't care what your culture is. No culture and no race want to talk about sexual abuse. I'm afraid. I don't care what your background is. These are the hard topics that we struggle with all around the world. We struggle with these topics. We struggle with knowing how to get the children involved in the topics. We struggle. And this, and again, it's understandable because it's out of the norm. It's not customary for us to talk about these things. It's better for us to sweep them under the rug, because guess what? We don't want nobody knowing, what we done gone through, what we done been through. It's personal, it's private. Nobody's going to be able to fathom that I've been a victim of, sexual abuse or the struggle of sexual abuse. How is someone going to fathom that? My family definitely can't understand it, because every time I try to talk to them, they shun me, they didn't understand me, they shut me up. And let me say something to you, brothers and sisters. Those are real feelings. Those are real feelings. Those are real struggles. And Queen gets it. I really do get it. So the introduction tonight. Why does my thing look blurry here? Okay. The introduction tonight is, guess what? Adults tell an average of one lie per day, according to one psychological study. College students, another group within this particular study, tell even greater numbers of lies, with an average of 2 lies per day. Now, how many of us is lying once a day? We not in college, but think about what we're saying. There are some of us that are not in college. There are some of us that are in college. I mean, are we telling 1 lie per day? Are we lying to the professor? Are we really confessing those lies? Are we there? Come on now, say something. Don't be afraid to chime in. With the average of 2 lies per day. The study, which required community members to record their social interactions in a diary and determine how often they lied, revealed most of the participants did not consider their lies to be serious and were not worried about being caught. I mean, in that part, is that because we just lie? We just lie. And we think lies are white. So that gives us more reason to lie. We so messed up, we think lies are white. This is just crazy. We think that lies are white and that lies have a color. And we talked about that subject before. We know goodness daggone well that we had that conversation at the dinner table. We know daggone well lies don't have no color. Okay, so y'all not even miss me with the drama that you come with, because I don't want none of the drama. But think about it though. Why are we so worried about, why are we not worried about being lied to? Why do we think it's customary? Why do we accept it? Why do we put up with it? Some of the questions that we can ask ourselves, because lies, we all know lies hurt. We all know that people have been telling lies for centuries. There's those scandals at the dinner tables with people who lie. That's the dinner table for you. People lying and not being honest. So we become customary to lying and to telling lies and to giving lies a color to make it seem like it's better. Given these statistics, most people have both lied and been lied to. The majority of those lies were most likely inconsequential white lies that went unnoticed. So we don't even notice the white lies because we lie so much, and then we turn around and say that the lie's white. I'm never going to understand that whole white lie thing. I'm never going to understand that thing. I just can't get into it. It ain't my stilo. It ain't my thing to do that. So I don't understand that part. But, we have been doing it. But what if one of those lies was not so harmless, but rather a life altering falsehood concerning the health of a loved one and ultimately impacted one's own health. So now what we're saying is that you didn't got crabs, or you got herpes, or you got HIV, or you got gonorrhea. So is that a white lie? Is that okay? Crabs. What is the slang for crabs? Lice, public lights, pesticides, insects can infest in the genital area of humans. Public lice are usually spread through sexual contact. What is the key symptom? Itching in the genital area, lice eggs, crawling lice can be seen with the naked eye. Now, I think I've heard one of my buddies tell me that you can actually see it. But now that I'm doing my research, it's confirming that you can actually see with the naked eye that it's a crab there. And you see the picture. It actually looks like a little teeny crab. An estimated 3 million people with new cases of the infestation are treated each year in the United States. Put a condom on. Do a background check. You got to do something in order to protect your livelihood from the mess, that we get ourselves into. Herpes. What is genital herpes? Genital herpes is an STD caused by two types of viruses: herpes simplex virus type 1, herpes simplex virus type 2. Okay. Genital herpes is common in the United States. In 2018, the CDC estimates show there were 572,000 new genital herpes infections in the United States among people aged 14 to 49 years old. HIV is a sexually transmitted infection. It can also be spread by contact with infected blood and from needles, using, injecting, drug use, sharing the needles. It can also spread from mother to child during a pregnancy, and of course during breastfeeding. It may take years before HIV weakens your immune system to the point that you have AIDS. Okay, so you may not initially get AIDS. You may just have the virus, which is extremely important to make sure that we're getting tested every 6 months to a year. When you're doing your physical blood work and stuff, you really should be getting tested. Okay. Don't be afraid. I know we are afraid because we may have had multiple partners. We may have done things and been places that we had no business being, but you got to build up the courage to get yourself checked out. Gonorrhea. What is gonorrhea? Gonorrhea is an STD that can cause infection in the genitals, rectum, and throat. It is very common, especially among young people ages 15 through 24 years old. So if your young person is sexually active, you may just want to make sure you're keeping up with getting their lab work done and, checking for the STDs as much as we can prevent. We're talking about prevention care. We're always talking about prevention care. Okay, because we want to start trying to prevent these things that we can prevent. Because when things show up that we can't prevent, that's it. So the more we can put into preventing things that happen, let's do it. Prevention matters at our dinner tables. This is why we have the hard topic conversations. The United States Centers of Disease Control estimates that more than 700,000 persons in the U.S. get new gonorrhea infections each year. People, we're not talking about every 10 years. We're talking about every year. Only about half of these infections are reported. And you got people around here who are not saying, not disclosing, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Do we feel like sexually transmitted diseases, when it's non-disclosed, is it sexual abuse? is that sexual abuse to you? Let's talk about tort liability for sexual transmission of disease, a legal attempt to cure bad behavior for personal tort liability cases. We want people to be held accountable, right? Do we want people to be held accountable? Especially if you're doing this to a child. If a child is experiencing this and it's out of their control, we definitely want to be doing it for them. Just calm down, baby. Who is responsible? Tort actions for the transmission of sexually transmitted diseases is the defendant's knowledge that he or she is infected with the disease. All right. So he or she ought to be saying that I am infected with the disease. Most tort claims for knowingly transmitting a sexually transmitted disease would be based on a claim of plaintiff's negligence, although claims based on misrepresentation, deceit, or fraud are also possible. Okay, which the misrepresentation, let me get it right, goes hand in hand with deceit and fraud in this type of liability case, and who could be responsible for it. The negligence of it all. In negligent cases, courts use an objective standard of reasonableness amplified by the hypothetical reasonable man or woman. Okay, under this standard, a person is liable in negligence if he knew, or if she knew, or should have known facts that would cause a reasonable person to recognize that an unreasonable risk of harm existed. So it's when he or she knows, but they playing like they don't know. To the reasonable person, they playing like they don't know, or it's suspicious. Things are just seeming suspicious. And how could that be? Because you might see medication, you might see that this person is, getting caught in them little white lies one behind the other when it comes to when you ask sex questions. Like, for instance, some of us may ask, how many sex partners have you had? Who's going to answer that question and really be honest? Think about it. Or do you even really know? Do you even really know? To establish a cause of action in negligence, the infected party would have to show that the transmitter should have known that he or she was infected. Fraudulent deceit, misrepresentation. Many theories of tort liability involve misrepresentation. An individual may induce another to consent to a harmful contact by false representation. And many of us know people that are out here making themselves be something that they are not. And when I tell you that that's what's going on, that's what's going on. Okay? That's what's going on. People are out here misrepresenting who they are, what they stand for. And I always say that you ought to take that AIDS diagnosis and carry that thing around like it's a credit report. The same way now we in COVID. So the same way we carry our COVID cards, we ought to be carrying that HIV paper around. Okay? The same way. Okay? Don't get it twisted. He or she may negligently mislead and not into following a course of action that leads to injury. Perhaps no situation is more personal than misrepresentation, leading to the transmission of a venereal disease. Let me tell you something about misrepresentation. Y'all better come on now and say something, somebody. Somebody better come on here and say something, somebody. Because the misrepresentation of it all is just horrific. It is horrific. It is scary. You know, when you find out that that person is lying, it is a horrible, horrible feeling when you find out that that person is not telling the truth about something that is so very serious. And you looking at the person like, okay, so, you know, I seen something suspicious, you know, in your phone. Y'all be going in the phone looking for another woman or another man. How about you looking for the results of a person that's misrepresenting themselves in a sexual light? Because they can't even answer the question, or they don't know the answer to the question of how many sex partners have you had? And people think, and people will say, oh, you moving a little fast, aren't you? You ain't gonna say that if I want to turn around and give you a one night stand. You gonna be with it. No questions asked. But I can't ask you how many partners have you had? You know, I can't ask you, you know, but I can ask you like this. I could say, I could probably get away with this one. When you break your virginity, I could probably get away with that one. Huh? Can I get away with that one? Can I just get away with that one at least? Okay, so when did you break your virginity? That one would be okay, won't it? Yes, it would. Yes, you would answer that with open arms. But when I start asking you about, you know, your sexual count, how many women have you slept with, or how many men have you slept with, you catch an attitude with me. You know, you ready to crank. You ready to crank. You know, and I'm everything but, you know, my name, because I want to try to be, you know, I want to try to get some understanding, you know, of who I could be dealing with or what I could be coming in contact with. You know, and the sad part is that some people can misrepresent themselves for a long time. I mean, for a long time, the abuser can do this. And literally, we have no clue that this person is this way, right? But let me tell you something about the signs and wonder. Them red flags that we don't be wanting to pay attention to. Oh, they had the answers. The red flags had the answers, but you don't want to hear that. You don't want to see that. You don't want to find out if any of the ex-partners had contracted any type of venereal disease with this person, because, you know, you looking at they with you now. They with you now. Oh, so they can't definitely be, you know, nasty, dirty. And I heard my sister say, Robin from New Orleans come on with me and talk about her story, because she is HIV positive. She say, oh, he don't got no AIDS. He got a gold chain. He got money. He paying for me to do this and yah. He don't got no AIDS. Oh, so AIDS don't wear gold chains. Sis, so AIDS don't wear gold chains? No, they don't. AIDS don't, you know, AIDS is not broke. AIDS got, you know, AIDS ain't broke. You know what I mean? This is the psychology that we get caught up in when it comes to our health and wellness. We had so many young girls who out here running away because they're being molested at home. And how we know if they ain't getting no venereal disease from this grown man or this grown one? We had young boys who running away because they getting sexually molested. How we know they ain't getting no venereal disease from this person, from this grown person, or from another child? Because there is child on child sexual abuse. I keep telling y'all that. I keep sharing that with you now. And I'm going to go to my grave continuing to share it with you. Because you need to know that it's not a joke. Perhaps no situation is more personal than a misrepresentation leading to the transmission of a venereal disease. I'm done with that topic. This is all about what we're doing. We're having hard topic dinner table conversation. Okay? And what that means is that dinner table conversation can go anywhere with you. It can go anywhere with you. It can go in the backyard. It can go in the back of the liquor store. It can go in the trap house. You know, it could go on the street corner. Lately, I've been having hard topic conversations on the block lately. Because we have to start to get open about these conversations. This dinner table conversation can go into the Jewish communities. All the gatherings that they have. You mean to tell me nobody in that community is having hard topic dinner table conversation? This can go into our Hispanic communities where they're gathering. They gather for a lot of different things traditionally. But when they gathering, where's the gathering for the hard topic dinner table conversation at? When does that happen? At these dinner tables. See, everybody, every single living soul, every adult, every teacher, every police officer, every judge, every pastor, faith-based community, everybody, cheerleaders, football coaches, sports teams, got to be having hard topic dinner table conversation. Tort cases. Crowell versus Crowell. The North Carolina Supreme Court held that a husband's concealment of the risk of venereal disease infection visitated his wife's consent to sexual intercourse and subjected him to liability. So in this case, he did not tell his wife. And you have some women who do not tell their husbands. We have same-sex marriages where they don't tell that this is going on the back end. And I'm dealing with this. They may tell you for 2 weeks they ain't trying to do no loving and all that because this stuff here could be going on. They could be misrepresented, being fraudulent, being negligent, being deceitful. You see what I mean? They didn't hid the medication because they can't let their husband or wife know about that. In this case, Catherine versus Robert, the plaintiff sued for fraud, alleging the defendant deliberately misrepresented to her that he was free from venereal diseases. I want to pause right there because I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to think about the misrepresentation. Someone having you believe that they are free from a venereal disease. The plaintiff relied on this representation. A lot of times we rely on their representation. We just take it for what it is. And sexual relations with the defendant and subsequently contracted herpes. While acknowledging that courts have long recognized the right of privacy in matters relating to marriage, family, and sex, the court recognized that the state also has the right to protect its citizens from injury. The court then concluded that the notorious infection of another with a contagious and dangerous disease qualifies as an injury that warrants judicial inquiry into private matters. If you have been in a situation where this person has misrepresented themselves and you contracted herpes, you can file liability against that person. Because why? The court has a right to protect you as a citizen from injury. Okay? And ultimately, the court is would get involved is because they don't want it to continue. They don't want you to now start infecting others. Okay? So this is why the court is saying, okay, we're going to intervene. We're going to help this person resolve this because we don't want the person who has been, who has gotten the disease to begin to give the disease, misrepresent. See, misrepresent. That misrepresentation been in the earth for so long. If we don't start having dinner table conversation, and we are far behind. We are far behind. But we got to start somewhere. Dealing is a fascinating and novel case because it is the first time a plaintiff has attempted to what? To hold the parents of an adult sexual partner liable for allegedly misrepresenting their child's HIV status. So the parents was in on it. Come on now, somebody. Y'all know the parents be lying for their children like crap. You know the parents be lying for the children. And it's hurtful. You know, it hurts everybody. Nobody wins when something like that is going on. And this person is, you know, in a situation where they feel so bad about being with this person because the parents have ultimately misrepresented their child too, and knew that their child had a venereal disease. But for some reason they ain't tell you why you ain't get the news. And you supposed to be the partner that they like, and they really want you to be with their child, you know. And I really am glad that my son or daughter met you. I don't think they could have met no one better than you. They feed you all this, but they misrepresent their child's status when it comes to what? A venereal disease. Sisters and brothers, we cannot afford for nobody to be playing with us like that. You see what I mean? We have got to get serious about, you know, the way we treat ourselves and what we accept. What we accept at these dinner tables. And we be visiting other people's dinner tables. You know, you be around this family. And this family is sitting here lying to you and leading you on about the status of their child's behavior or the status of their child's health. You know, it's inappropriate for someone to do. It's definitely inappropriate. But Illinois Supreme Court denied those claims, relying upon the tort's traditional use in commercial settings and distinguishing the factual scenario from other cases in which courts have extended the tort to misrepresentations in personal settings. So what they're saying is that there's a commercial part of tort liability as well. So, you know, when you contracting with someone, or, you know, you may have got with somebody to do some type of agreement, a non-disclosed agreement, or something of the sort that has something to do with commercial. Okay. But unfortunately, the person have done you wrong. They have misrepresented themselves in the commercial aspect, in the business aspect, right? Okay, people do that too all the time in the business aspect as well. They misrepresent and lie about what their business can do. And when you find out, you know what I'm saying, you've been ripped off and half of your job is done. You know, so tort can be considered commercial as well. But we're talking about in the personal aspect. We're talking about the court getting involved with who's responsible for misrepresenting and giving me a venereal disease. That's what we talking about here. See, who's responsible for that? And that is a very good question. You know, and it is something that we should consider if you felt like, you know, someone was misrepresenting themselves in a venereal aspect or in a disease type of way. You know, it's something that we really should be curious about. So I want y'all to think about that case. These cases are very interesting. When I went out there and did my research, I just thought it was just amazing how we are dealing with this stuff, and we don't even really know how deep this stuff is. I can't even get it out of my mouth. We don't even know how deep this stuff be for real. That we be in. We just be into some mess. We just want to be into it. We don't even understand what we into. We just want to be into it though. You know? So we got to understand that this is serious. Okay, it's serious. Let me keep it moving because we gotta go. Okay, so I found this interesting with Al Capone. Al Capone was an American gangster who had an inflation adjusted net worth of 100 million at the time of his death. I didn't even know he was worth that much. Capone was a 5 Points gang member, right, and worked as a bouncer for organized crime, organization. He later became boss of the organized crime syndicated, the Chicago outfit. All right. Did Al Capone die of syphilis? Because my parents taught me about this a long time ago. They told me that Al Capone died from syphilis when they were educating me on venereal diseases. Okay. And this is true. The sexually transmitted infection had caused, neurosyphilis to his brain, an infection of the central nervous system, right? Which eventually led to dementia. So how we know that if some of our people who have this and they're not paying attention to it, they just go on and on, it didn't turn into dementia? Because I had no clue that this whole thing with the nervous system could happen and then turn into dementia. Immediately on release from prison, he entered a Baltimore hospital for brain treatment. I had no clue about that either. Al Capone was in Baltimore? Excuse me? Let me tell you something about Baltimore. B-more, y'all got some little legacies that be going on for real. B-more, y'all need to get it together, I'm telling you, and start doing your research out there, because y'all got some little jewels that you got like dig down there and really find. Honey, I'm ready to go down to the hospital where he was at. Where he didn't get the brain treatment from. Honey, I'm ready to go down there. Okay. In 1946, his physician and a Baltimore psychiatrist, after examination, both concluded Capone didn't have the mentality of a 12-year-old child. Since there was no cure for syphilis in the 1930s, Capone's illness worsened and led to his death at the age of just 48 years old. He was a young man. Did Al Capone give syphilis to his wife? Though Al and Mae were loving towards one another, Al slept with many sex workers while working as a bouncer. And we know a lot of men and women who be working as bouncers, and y'all be sleeping with a lot of different people and having a lot of different partners, and all in that, you're not able to get no condom. Don't even start playing with me. Okay? And I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your background is. I don't care. Some of these bouncers, y'all got two jobs. Y'all work, in the daytime, and you go to the club and you work at night. Some of our police officers, they do these bouncing jobs on the side. Some security officers do the same thing. These are men and women that get caught up with having sex with multiple partners. I get it. I knew a couple of bouncers back in my day, believe me. All right? I get it. It is nothing new under the sun with me. Al slept with many sex workers while being a bouncer for mob boss Big Jim, Casalot, Colosimo, one of them, Colosimo. I think it's Colosimo. It was through this that he contracted syphilis, when he then transmitted it to his wife. 9 times out of 10, you're going to give it to your partner. You out here misrepresenting, you're going to get, karma going to come back around that corner. And not only that, God is good, but let me tell you something. Don't play with his wrath, baby. Don't play with his wrath. I'm going to dive into this real quick. Highlights. Medical authorities advise those infected with genital herpes to abstain from sexual relations only during periods of an initial outbreak or reoccurrence. During these periods, an individual with genital herpes will recognize that it is substantially certain that any sex partner will be infected. Sexually transmitted infections always have been a major health issue affecting our military personnel in all types of services and in all armed forces around the world, especially during deployments and in operational settings. Come on now, somebody. The military is not even involved. So you not even void from this. So our faith-based communities is not void from this. not the mayor's office, Mayor Bowser, everybody in DC. Y'all know DC real small. You know what I'm saying? And folk be getting together in the through the mayor's office. All right, you be getting together, yes you do. Okay, and we be ending up with venereal diseases. We do. Adults and juveniles entering correctional facilities have high rates of sexually transmitted infections, including chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV. However, limited STIs have and HIV screenings and testing services in jails and prisons make estimating the overall prevalence of STIs and HIV difficult. So it's hard to track it once you in. But when you coming in the system, they can track it. Other sexually transmitted diseases, pelvic inflammatory disease. That's one. Herpes, hepatitis B. That's another one. The vaginal bacterial disease. BV, I thought that one was very interesting. Let me tell you why, because they saying that BV is a common treatable vaginal condition. BV can increase your chances of getting a sexually transmitted disease. So it can increase your chances of getting, gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV. It can increase your chances of this. It does occur frequently in lesbian and may be a true STD for this group. So it does occur with the lesbian community. All right. And they're saying that it occurs with the lesbian community. Why? Because BV risk among lesbians with a lack to always clean an insertive sex toy before use, with oral and anal sex, with recent genital contact with a female partner. So you're using, some of those dildos and toys and things that have those two heads on them, and you're not cleaning them, sisters. You have got to clean your toys and, make sure you're sterilizing your things the same way I go to the nail shop and they got to open that pack with all the clean utensils in there to clean my feet and do my nails, right? That's the same way we got to do with these toys that we be having in our lesbian relationships, bisexual relationships, our trans community, queer community. We want to make sure that we are cleaning these and sterilizing our toys. So if you have these toys and all that stuff, I don't know if Candy Coated Toys is telling y'all you need to be sterilizing that at a certain temperature to kill these bacteria and things. Okay, now we on there buying her toys and all that, but is she giving us the history and the know-how and the things that we need to order, not give somebody else something or we catch something. Okay, so we got to start being smart. Okay, disclosure. How important is disclosure? Disclosure of sexually transmitted infections to sexual partners is critical to the prevention, treatment, and control of STDs. If you do not share disclosure of any or all sexually transmitted diseases, a personal partner can file for personal tort liability. Checking your state, more and more checking your state, how this could actually work for you, where you can have the evidence that you need to begin to potentially file a case against someone, against that person that you feel like has misrepresented themselves in such a place. All right. We got to start being smart and handling the business in the right way. All right, for my last minute that I'm here with you all tonight. I have truly, and I always do enjoy my dinner table conversation with the family. I mean, y'all wasn't talking that much tonight. All right, but to me, that means you're listening up. You're listening up. You're listening up. And one of the things about dinner table conversation is that we are practicing our listening skills. We are practicing learning how to listen to one another, how to, be respectful of the person that is speaking. And I'm just so proud of each and every scholar that continues to join our dinner table conversations and that continue to, be inspired and share the message out there for the people, that we put out our education, expert education corner, the expert education corner with your girl Queenafi. Okay? With your girl Queenafi. Serious inquiries only, students. If you want to give out the resource, Domestic Violence Ways Many Tags resource, please make sure that you give it out to serious inquiries only. We want to make sure that we are getting to the people that are ready to join our scholar community and get more and more educated, taking our dinner tables conversations and putting them live into your dinner table conversation and having wonderful conversations, just opening up, learning about some of the things that we can actually talk about at the dinner table, and things that we should have been talking about 400 years ago, but we were in captivity, you see, and we were fighting for our lives. We had some great ancestors back then that were truly fighting for our life. So, in fighting to pave the way so that we can have these conversations today. You see, don't you miss an opportunity to, be a part of some amazing dinner table conversation, and letting our young people have that safe space that they need to be able to get those why questions answered. Because when you don't answer the why questions, you do your baby a disservice. You do everybody at that dinner table as young people a disservice when we don't answer the why questions. The best way to answer those why questions is to, why not, have dinner table conversation. Take it with you when you put your jeans on and you're stepping out. When you put your workout stuff on and you're stepping out, you're going to the gym. Take it with you. You don't know. The Lord might have you bump into somebody, and they may need to hear a little something. Folk are always going through. Be ready, willing, and able, scholars, to share that dinner table conversation, and not be afraid to do that. So this is the resource. If you are interested in getting this education, you can definitely reach out to me again and, just let me know, Queen, I'd like to, get a copy of the education from you. Just text or email or Twitter. And you can also do it at the website as well. Make sure you go out there and check that website out. Share it. I'm always moving around trying to have dinner table conversation in the various locations. And especially here, because we reach more scholars this way. We reach more scholars in this platform because some of our scholars are doing double the work on tonight. So we just want to make sure that we still are able to, always get that information out there for you. Lastly, I'm going to pull this down. Actually, I'm going to come back here and can I add Queen to the... Am I there? Can you see me, guys? Let me see if I can get up here on this one. Hold on, sisters and brothers. I'm trying to see if I can get up there with you. Can I get up there with you? I'm up there with you, but I'm awfully small. Let me see if I can't do... Okay, there I go. And that's not a good look either. Let me see if I can't go side by side with it. Is that better? It's kind of dark where I am. But I definitely want to make sure that, we have had wonderful conversation tonight. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. Thank you, scholars, for chiming in. Don't forget to, show the information, share the information, put it out there for our people to understand, this is great dinner table conversation. We want you to be involved. We want you to be chimed in. We want you to ask those questions. We want you to share. And for those of you that want to reach out again, please feel free to contact Queenafi personally. I am looking for something that, I always play the org song at the end. So I really want to do that for all of our brothers and sisters out there that are chiming in tonight. We got to end on a powerful note. Peace and love, my brothers and sisters. Peace and love. Thank you always for chiming in. Thank you always for chiming in. Let me see if I can get the song to play for us, because we love the song. I mean, we be grooving to the song. Like, we really do. Check it out. Domestic violence. It has to stop. The kids are crying. It's coming down like raindrops. It's a behavior we can't condone. Breaking up our happy homes. Let's get it together. Talk about it. Let them know that they're not alone.